Have you ever walked into a house that felt like it was watching you? We thought we had found the perfect farmhouse for a fresh start, but what we really bought was a nightmare that still follows us today. It all started when my family found an old farmhouse for sale far outside the city. The price was unbelievably low, and even though the place looked old and forgotten, we believed we had found a hidden treasure. The house stood alone in the middle of empty fields, surrounded by dead trees that never seemed to move, even when the wind was strong. The previous owner had disappeared years ago, but the agent quickly changed the subject every time we asked questions. We ignored the strange feeling and signed the papers. On the first day, everything looked normal except for one thing. Every room felt colder than the last, especially the upstairs bedroom. At night, we heard slow footsteps walking across the wooden floor above us, even though nobody was upstairs. We searched every room but found nothing. The next morning, we laughed it off, thinking the old house was just making noises. But the strange things only became worse. Doors opened by themselves. Lights turned on in empty rooms. We kept hearing someone whispering our names, but whenever we turned around, nobody was there. One evening, I found an old family photograph hidden behind a loose wall panel. The picture showed a family standing in front of the farmhouse, but behind them, through the upstairs window, was the shadow of a tall figure with glowing white eyes. I thought it was just damage on the old photo until I looked up at the same window. For just 1 second, I saw the exact same shadow staring at me. It disappeared before I could blink. That night, my younger brother screamed from his room. We rushed inside and found him sitting in the corner, shaking with fear. He pointed at the closet and whispered. Someone was standing inside, smiling at me. We opened the closet slowly, but it was empty. The next morning, strange scratches appeared on every bedroom door. They looked like deep claw marks carved into the wood. We decided to ask the oldest man in the nearby village about the farmhouse. His face turned pale the moment we showed him the picture. He told us the house had been built over 100 years ago, and every family that lived there either disappeared or left after seeing a tall shadow that never spoke but always watched. He warned us to leave before it became too late. We wanted to leave immediately, but that evening our car refused to start. The phone had no signal and a heavy fog surrounded the farmhouse. It felt like something did not want us to escape. As midnight arrived, every clock inside the house stopped at exactly 12. Then we heard slow footsteps coming down the stairs, step after step, closer and closer. We locked ourselves inside the living room, holding our breath. Suddenly, 3 loud knocks echoed through the door. Then a deep voice whispered, "You belong here now." The lights went out. The room became freezing cold. We could hear someone breathing just outside the door. My father grabbed a flashlight and slowly opened it. The hallway was empty, but at the end of the corridor stood the tall shadow from the photograph. It was darker than the night itself, with glowing white eyes and a smile that stretched wider than any human face could. It never walked. It simply floated toward us without making a sound. We ran outside into the fields, but the fog was so thick that we could not see more than a few feet ahead. Every direction led us back to the farmhouse. No matter how far we ran, the house was always waiting in front of us. Finally, just before sunrise, the fog disappeared. Our car started on the first try, and we drove away without looking back. We left everything behind, including our furniture, our clothes, and every memory connected to that place. Months later, I developed the old family photograph. At first, it looked the same, but then I noticed something that made my blood freeze. The shadow was no longer standing in the upstairs window. It was standing directly behind my family, and behind me, there was an empty space, as if something was waiting for me to return. Even today, whenever I wake up in the middle of the night, I sometimes hear 3 slow knocks on my bedroom door. I never open it because deep inside, I know the haunted farmhouse never really let us leave. If you enjoyed this scary story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more terrifying horror stories every week.